Hello, Professor Ajit Kumar.
Hi, good evening, Professor.
Good evening.
Joshi.
After a long gap, we are meeting online at least.
Yes. Yeah, this has become new norm.
Yes.
Right. So, how many participants are there? How many people?
20.
Okay.
And some of our PhD students are also joined because
Okay.
this is more relevant to some of the students who are working in algebraic graph theory as such.
Right. Yes.
So some students are there.
Okay, good.
So your teaching is going on?
Yes. Our teaching is going on.
Online.
Yes.
Okay.
How about Pune University? They're planning to start now offline?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Well, I think there is some government circular which says that one can start from 20th, right?
Yeah, but we are waiting for the SOP.
I think at present it says those you can allow those who are fully vaccinated.
Yeah, but university will issue the guidelines again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The link is same throughout the workshop. So
Yeah, right. I saw that. Yes,
yeah.
that's good.
So there won't be any confusion as such.
Yes, it's better. But usually in online refresher course, we expect many more people. Have they been very choosy?
Yeah, maybe. Because I think term is going on, so it is
Yeah,
very
that is
difficult
another.
for
And also,
the
I
colleges
think,
also to relieve the faculty.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you are having whole day program, right? So that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's almost 6 hours a day.
Of 2 sessions in the afternoon, then more people would have managed. Of course, then it has to be for longer period.
Instead of 14 days, we have to go for at least 28 days there.
Correct.
Sir, should I go further?
Yeah, please. Or we can wait for 1 minute.
Yes.
So it's 15:59. So maybe 1 minute we can wait and you can start afterwards.
Could you please make me co-host if possible?
Yeah. Definitely.
Hi Ganesh, how are you?
Ganesh, you are
you're mute.
You are mute.
Hello, how are you? I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. Yeah, I'm fine.
So how is it in Mumbai?
Yeah, it's fine, I think. These days, not much cases. Still people are following. Not everybody, of course.
Yes, Dr. Manish, we can start now.
Yeah. Yes. It is my privileged to introduce Professor Ajit Kumar. He is head Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, commonly known as ICT. His research area is optimization and statistical techniques, differential geometry, analysis, mathematical pedagogy, and mainly now he is working in use of computer-aided tools and mathematical software in teaching mathematics. He got an award of Professor N.R. Kamath Book Authors Award in 2015. He has conducted more than 30 seminars and lectures. Also, he has more than 34 training programs, conferences, and short-term courses. He is also associated with MTTS, which is very good initiative for undergraduate students. He have more than 25 articles, research articles, and many books on his names, but these are not ordinary books. What he has done is he used mathematical softwares to introduce these books like Group Theory and Expedition with Sage Math, Linear Algebra with Sage, a basic course in real analysis, and Mathematical Foundation. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Department of Mathematics and HRDC Savitribai Phule Pune University. Over to you, sir, Professor Ajit Kumar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manish, and for your kind introduction. Let me first thank Professor Vinayak Joshi for inviting me to give sessions on Sage Math, and also thank the Department of Mathematics, Pune University, and of course, academic staff college. So my plan for these 3 lectures is basically to introduce this Sage Math and look at some applications, maybe in linear algebra, and in case, depending upon the feedback, we can look at some other applications as well. So first of all, I think before I start, let me just ask how many of you are already using Sage Math? If you could, is there a raise, a click yes, no button kind of thing?
So they can unmute and see.
Okay, no, yeah. So maybe you can just click on raise hand so that I can just count. In case you already are aware of or you're already using Sage Math. Krishna is using, and who else? It's only one, Manish and Krishna, it's only 2 people, so not many. At least how many of you have heard about it? Okay.
Yes, sir, of course we have heard.
Okay, so that is right. Okay. Yeah, so I think in that case, we'll start from the scratch. So first, let me give you a very brief introduction about Sage Math. And I mean, of course, I don't have any script. So it will basically interaction, and I would like you to ask many questions. So I also learn exploring this Sage for various things. So first of all, let me actually, I'll share the screen. Let me share the, just 1 second. Okay, so is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, sir, very much.
Okay, thanks. So this Sage Math is what? It's a free open source mathematical software. That's what the website, official website of Sage Math says, right? It's a free open source mathematical software licensed under general public license. And this is actually built on top of several packages, which are again free and open source, like NumPy, SciPy, SymPy, Maxima, R, and many more. So these are some of these are packages in Python packages. And so Sage Math is actually written using Python language. It is also what is called a computer algebra system. Computer algebra system, in short, CAS. So I'm sure most of you must have heard about this Mathematica, Maple, MATLAB, Magma, and so on. These are also some of the proprietary computer algebra systems. Proprietary computer algebra system means if you want to use it, you may have to pay money, and then you can use, right? So the basic idea of Sage was to create a viable, free, open source alternative to these proprietary softwares. These are softwares which are commonly used. For example, MATLAB is very much used in engineering fields. It has lots of packages. Similarly, Mathematica is very much suitable for symbolic computations. MATLAB, of course, also has now symbolic computation capability, right? So, though it is free software, it has capability of Maple, Mathematica, and to some extent MATLAB, because MATLAB also has is very capable of doing simulation, which is not that much developed in Sage Math. So MATLAB is somewhat in slightly different category, I would think, but this MATLAB has symbolic computation toolbox, which is actually symbolic package, which they have got it from MuPad. MuPad used to be one of the computer algebra system few years back, and in fact, many of us have used that. Okay, so so when I say computer algebra system, it means that it is a software which can do, let us say, these four things. One is numerical computations. So you can use it for doing, let us say, for like an advanced scientific calculator. You can use it for symbolic manipulations, which we do all the time in mathematics, especially in higher mathematics. And then it can also do plotting, the standard plotting functionality it has, like plotting in 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, creating animations, etc. And then the fourth thing is programming. So these are the 4 things that one can do in any computer algebra system, namely numerical computations, scientific computation, symbolic computation. So numerical computation, symbolic computations, plotting or visualization, if you want, you can call. And then 4th thing is programming. So if you look at all the softwares like this Magma, Maple, Mathematica, MATLAB, and many other, they have their own programming language. Okay, the program that Mathematica understands, the Maple may not understand exactly in the same way. You may have to change a little bit at least, right? Whereas Sage Math does not have its own programming language, but it is rather than written in Python programming language, which I'm sure these days is Python is a buzzword, some kind of everybody wants to learn Python because it has because of its simplicity first of all, and also versatility. It's quite versatile and simple at the same time to use, right? So when he started developing, the developer or inventor of Sage Math is Professor William Stein, who was till recently professor at University of Washington. So when he started developing this, there were several free and open source packages which were available. So instead of creating everything new, he thought, why not make use of these existing packages and create a platform from which all these packages can be called and used. So and also Python was, I mean, it was not all that popular what we have today, but it was definitely a simple programming language to use. So that's why he created this. That is how he came up with this Sage Math. Another reason for him creating this Sage Math was actually he was using the Magma at that time. Magma is quite a good package for number theory, algebraic number theory, etc. So, but then something which, because of his closed source, he could not see what is the source code in the Magma, and as a result, he could not do what he wanted. So that's why that is when he started developing this. And in 2005, I think the first version was released in MIT. Okay, so right, and this, if you look at this website, you can look at various help documents. There is an online tutorial. There are list of books available here. And so in case you want to learn Sage Math, actually you don't need separate books or anything. All the things that are there, online documents, is going to be more than sufficient. Of course, I mean, I have also learned just by exploring. Maybe we should thank Professor Joshi. He could organize some workshop to at least introduce Sage, but then I didn't have that kind of privilege. So I try to learn on my own. And one of the way, I think, since most of you are a teacher, one of the way generally I learn these things, I start using in my course. So on the way I learn and also teach. That is the best way, I think, to force ourselves to learn many of these tools. Right. So you can also use this package is available in Windows, available in Linux, available in Mac. Right. So all the standard platform. It can also be used online. So I will tell you little bit of that also. So if you want to install Sage Math, this is somewhat heavy duty package. So for example, if I click on download 9.4 version, it will take you to this particular website, Sage Math download website. And these are some mirror sites, different locations in different parts of the world from where you can download. Many of you must be using Windows. For example, at present, I'm also using Windows. So you can go to, for example, GitHub release page. So let me click on this GitHub release page. So at present, the current version of Sage Math is 9.4, but for the Windows version, the only 9.3 is available, because generally they release first for Linux version, and then slowly they release Windows version. Okay. So you can go to download Sage 9.3. It is an executable file. So you can just download and then double click, it will start installing. So those who have not installed in their system, maybe you can start downloading but it will take some time depending upon your internet speed because it is 821 MB. So it may take time. One can also use previous version, but I think best to use the latest version. Okay, so that is those who have not installed yet can download and install. Okay, in the meantime, we will try to use it online. So let me go back to SageMath website. And the installation in Windows version is fairly simple. You can just double click once it downloads, double click. Once you double click, then on your desktop, it will create 3 icons. There will be one which is called Windows SageMath Notebook. There will be another called SageMath Shell, and the other one is SageMath Console. Okay, so you can use anyone, but you can use SageMath Notebook, and that is what we will use. Okay, so let me go to again this official website, and another way of using SageMath is go to SageMath Shell. Okay, this is, let me click here. Okay, so can all of you go to this site, SageMath Shell? I will also type it in chat message. I will keep typing whatever the codes I'm using in chat message so that we can make it more interactive rather than just me telling you all the commands. If you do it simultaneously, then I'm sure it will be much better. So have you all logged into this website, sageshell.sagemath.org?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So right, so this is where one can type any commands and then evaluate, right? And what I, of course, you cannot save it in their website. You may have to copy this and put it in some notebook, notepad, or Word file, or any text editor file. You can put it, and later on you can make use of same thing again till you install. When you install, everything will be saved in your computer, right? So let us use few commands here just to begin with. Okay, so for example, if you want to, let us say, multiply 2 numbers, so let us say 679 star 5732. Okay, so once you star is for multiplication. Okay, then you just click on evaluate. Then it will go to the Sage server. Okay, so this is actually a server which is running in this website, and it gives you the output. Okay, right. So let me type this in the chat message. Next, let us say we want to find power of a number. So let us say 507 to the power. So you can write power as this caret notation to the power, let us say 40. For the same thing, you can use at instead of this caret, the Python allows you to put double star. Double star stands for power. And here this hash means it is a comment. This is a comment in Python. Any programming language will also have the comment. So now let me execute and then see what is the, so this is the power, right? It is a huge number, right? That's what you can see. 507 to the power 40, that's a huge number. So let me again copy paste. Yeah, so that's the number you will get. Of course, at present, the first one is executed, this caret. This 507 double star 40 is commented out. So if I want to execute, I'll copy in the next line, and then you can execute. The output will be the same. Okay, right. Right. So this is, suppose we want to find, for example, let us say 507 divided by 40. Divided by 40. Then what is the answer? It is not giving you anything. It is just giving you whatever you type. The reason is the says understands how to deal with rational numbers. So it just thinks of as a rational number. Right? So if you want, now it depends what you want. Whether you want this as a rational number, then it gives you as it is. So that's fine. If you want to find the numerical value, then what you can do is you can write 507 divided by, let us say, 40.0. So I'm making numerator as integer and denominator is floating point number, real number. And then when you evaluate, click on evaluate, it will give you what is the value in floating point number. Okay, so let me just again copy, paste these two things. And also, if you notice here, if you notice the output that you are getting, it is only the last output. If I want to get output for everything, you will have to put what is called print statement. So I'll put print in the bracket, then I will get all the statements that is evaluated with print. Now you can see here, the last two I put as print, and this is what it is giving. So let me copy paste this also. Right. Okay, so this is, suppose we wanted, let us say, instead of decimal number as output, suppose we wanted the quotient. So in that case, you can simply say, instead of single forward slash, you say double forward slash, and then it will give you the quotient. Right? It will give you the quotient. And let us say the quotient is 12. 40 into 12 is 480. And how do I find remainder? I'm sure that all of you will be able to guess. Instead of double slash, you put percentage. This stands for the remainder. The remainder is 27. Okay, so that we can deal with quotient, remainder, all these things. Okay. Similarly, you can find, for example, square root of some number. Let us say square root of 7. So again, it will give you only the last number, which will be just write as a square root. If I want the decimal number, two things we can do. Either we can write 7.0. We can write 7.0, or we can write, so let me evaluate this. So this, the square root, of course, it is giving you some up to certain number of decimal places, which can be changed. We'll look at it later. Or we can simply say the square root of this 7 and then dot n. N empty round bracket. Okay. Dot square root 7 dot n. N dot n stands for numerical value. So we are finding the numerical value of square root 7. Otherwise, it will just give you some kind of symbolic in symbolic form. Okay. I could also mention here, in fact, how many digits that we want. I can say here digits is equal to, let us say I want 100 digits, and then evaluate. So now you can see here, you can control how many digits you want of any numerical computation. Significance, you can increase the significance. Right. Okay, so not only that, you can also even plot and other things, etc. So if you want, you can just highlight everything, copy paste in some notebook or some other file, and keep it for future purpose. Right? Let me just use few more commands. And then we will move on to how to use this in another mode, again online. And then we will look at how to use from the installed version. Okay, so let us say I want to find, let us say factorial of a number. Let us say, how about finding factorial of 325? Okay, let me evaluate. Again, you can see here this factorial of, this is the last output, which is quite big. Instead of 325, we can even say, let us say 1025. Then also it will work. Yeah, so, and see, you can see here, I can scroll down and see how many digits are there. They are very big. So it is able to deal with large number of digits. Of course, this is somewhat not very convenient, because here the output is shown it exactly in one line, but in the installed version, it will be appearing in different lines. Okay, let me copy paste in the chat box, and then we will. Yeah. Okay, so is everybody with me? Are you able to execute these commands?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, if any of you have problem, please raise your hand. Click on raise hand, or you can just, since we are very few, you can just unmute and then tell me to go slow, or
Sir, how to deal with irrational numbers?
how to deal with irrational numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so square root 7 is irrational, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so we have already dealt with that. Yeah, so
Okay.
right.
So it depends on digits we have.
Digits, that is, see here it is finding the numerical value, the decimal expansion, and how many decimal places you want. That is the meaning here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, fine. So
In that the digits is empty bracket. What happens?
okay, what
I
it
didn't
means
see.
is, I'll explain this in more detail later. But what it means is the following. See, the Sage math, as I said, Sage math is written in Python programming language. Now, if you know, there are programming language which are object-oriented programming language. Okay, Python is an object-oriented programming language. So when I say square root 7 is an object. And on this object, you are applying this numerical value that as a method. Okay, so for example, let us say, let us look at, suppose I say a is equal to some number. I have just written some number ending with 1. Okay, a is equal to this number. Okay, now let me execute this. At present, it will not show you what is a. Okay, because that is the last one. But then let me see whether a, if I say a dot, and if you press tab, then in this, of course, when you are using Sage Math 1 cell, it will not give you all the options, but all the methods that you can apply on a is an object now. It is integer type object. Okay, it is an integer class. And then all the methods that you can apply on a, you will be able to see. So for example, I can ask whether a dot is underscore prime. Okay, so it will check whether this is a prime or not. So it says false. That means a is not a prime number. So is underscore prime is a method that is applied to the object a. Okay, so there will be method, there will be functions, right? So for example, square root is a function. whereas is underscore prime is a method. Okay, right. So this is little bit about objects and methods, and we'll see many methods. And once you are using the installed version or other cloud version of Sage Math, then all the options will appear when you press dot tab in the drop down menu, and you will be able to use this. For example, if it is not a prime number, I can ask what is the next prime. A dot next underscore prime. So it will tell me what is the number which is, evaluate this. So it says that this next number, which is a prime, which is more than this. So last one was 41, 33, 41. Now it is 47, right? So the next prime, you can also ask for the previous prime. Okay. And also please keep in mind, Sage Math is case sensitive. So all these commands have to be typed as it is. So small letter, capital letter will be different. Okay. So that is one thing you should keep in mind. Is this fine with everybody? Should we go ahead?
Use a print command in assigning the value A.
Can you please come again?
If you use a print command in assigning the value A to A equal to 75 before using the print command.
So after using it, you can say print A. Then it will print what is A, right? When you assign,
Value.
it will not give you the output, right? For example, in case you have used MATLAB, even if you say A equal to this, it will still give you the output, right?
Correct.
If you don't want output, then you have to put semicolon there. Here also something similar is there, but by default says when you do the assignment, it will not give you the output. Okay, because you have just assigned, you don't want to see it, right? So unnecessarily why to print? Yes.
If you are assigning value to B and C and I am adding the value B and C, put it in the A, it's able to
It can be done. It can be done. Right. So I can say, for example, I can say A comma B is equal to, let us say, this number, and this is this number. This means A will take first value, B will take second value. And then I can say, let us say D is equal to GCD of A comma B. And then let me say print D. Okay. So let me copy paste all these things in the chat message. And now if I evaluate, it tells me that GCD of these two numbers, 6,846 and 67,3432 is 2. 2 is GCD.
Okay.
Is that clear? So this is how you can assign value to any variable. Okay. That's how you can find. Right. Okay. So actually the Sage Math is very good for number theory. So most of the concepts that we deal with, that we do in number theory, you can explore here. It's very good for number theory because the William Stein himself is a number theorist. So you can expect this to do reasonably good job in number theory. Right. Okay. So this is how you can make use of the commands in using Sage Math Cell. Okay, so even if you don't install quickly, if you want to do some computations, you can just work here and then save your syntax in some notebook file. Okay, fine. Right. So let us look at how we can make use of the same thing from Sage Math Cloud. So let me again go to Sage Math website. Okay, so all the work that we did in Sage Math Cell will be lost now. So that's why I said please copy them in some place. So what you can do is you can click on this round circle. This will take you to CoCalc Instant Sage Math worksheet. So there you will need to create, let me click here. You may need to create your login. So you can log in through your browser, through your Google account, or you can create new account. Okay. And then you can make use of this. So if you don't want to install in your system, this is how you can do it. Of course, this CoCalc is not just for SAGE Math. Actually, this CoCalc they have created also as a kind of commercial unit. So if you want to do all the computations online, not just SAGE Math, but do Python, do R, do LaTeX, and various other computations, you can pay some money and buy extra space and memory. It's like a cloud space, cloud server, right? So that is where they make money and then maintain this SAGE Math as free software. Okay, this is the one. So you can go to, for example, I think I already have an account. This already says that it is signed, but let me log out and then show you how you can log in. So let me say sign out. Yeah, let me say sign out. Yes, sign me out. Okay. And then you can go to sign in. You can use your Gmail account or create login ID here. Let me use my Gmail account itself, right? Some password. If I remember the password. Yeah, so it has logged in, and then you can go to projects. So if I go to projects, then this is where you can give name of some project. You can, if already you have a project created, you can search, or you can create a new project. Then it will ask you to give project title. So let me give, say, introduction, intro underscore SAGE, let us say Pune 2021. Okay, then I can create a project, right? Now it will, now you can see here, it says it is just a free trial version of day one. But if you want the commercial, but this, though it gives you this message, but you can use it. It may be somewhat slow, but you can use everything. There is no problem about that. Okay, so that's why you can see here it is slightly slow, but and it gives me some error about my computer clock. Yeah, so it is somewhat slow. Depending upon your internet speed, it's possible that you have already logged in. But what I suggest is, at least for today, since many of you have not might not have installed SAGE, we will make use of SAGE Math 1 cell on all the commands that we explored today for basic understanding of SAGE Math. You can use from there, it will be faster. And once you install, maybe tomorrow, I think we will use local server and they give you all the commands which will work there itself. Okay, so I think let me go out of this. It's taking somewhat more time. Okay, so please, how many of you have downloaded and installing? Because installation may also take little more time. Yes, Krishna, you have raised your hand. Yeah. Krishna, you have some doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Pradeep?
Installation is going on, sir.
Okay, yeah, that also it will take little time. So today, I think all of you, in case you have not installed, please use Sage Math One Cell. It is faster,
Okay, sir.
right? So let me go to again sagemath.org. This Sage Math cell. Please use this. Okay. Let me again post it on in the chat. Okay. Right. Now let me show you my installed version of Sage. So I think I will just share my entire screen so that other things will also be visible. Let me share my entire screen. Okay, so let me show you my desktop. Yeah, so on your desktop, you see that there are 3 icons. I'm at present using 9.1 version. This okay, so there are 3 icons. Note Sage Math 9.1 notebook, Sage Math 9.1 cell, and then Sage Math 9.1. So this is a cell. This is what is it called console mode. You can do it run in console mode, but you can start with Sage 9.1 or 9.4, 9.3, whatever you are installing notebook. Okay, so if you double click, it will start what is called Sage Math server. If you click on Sage Math cell, so let me go to this type here. I will just type Sage Math. Again, here you will see here all these 3 things will appear. So let me go to Sage Math cell. Right, I'll click on this. Okay. Now I will, for example, I will go to some directory, and there we will start Sage Math. So let me see. I have some directory in D drive. Let us say D underscore Ajit blah blah, and then something, right? Let me go to that particular directory, and then we can start Sage -n, and then which whether you want Jupyter notebook or you want traditional Sage Math notebook. But of late, most of the things are using Jupyter notebook. So let us open Jupyter notebook. So this is the command Sage -n Jupyter to start the Sage Math. What happened? Oh, it's the spelling mistake. Jupyter. So now you can see here it is starting Sage Math server. And this is what you will see. I have several files here, but you may not see many files if you are starting afresh. So this is just a Jupyter notebook and Python. This is, you can think of as a front end for Python. All the nowadays Python, you can do all the codings through Jupyter notebook. Okay, right, and it runs from the browser. That is its advantage.
So, sorry, sir.
Yes.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, sure.
Particularly on playing with DOS mode, how
Yes.
to create the directories that may not be known to all of the participants. That will
Okay.
be, that will be in good if you
Right. So in
Yeah.
that case, I would suggest click on Sage Notebook. Sage Notebook icon on the desktop, and then start using. Let's not get into those things. Okay, right? So the suggestion is you just go to Sage 9.1 notebook, and then it will start. It will start in the default directory where it has installed.
Okay.
When you install Sage Math, there will be something called home directory of Sage Math.
Okay.
Right. Mostly it will sit in your user directory. So that is the default. And then after that, when you create the files, etc., you can shift wherever you want. And then you can load that the file from wherever you want. Okay, so that we will do it as we go along. Today we will just look at introduction part. Is that clear? So is the process clear to everybody? Let me put it what the command I used says minus n or says space minus n and then JUPYTER. This is the command to start SageMath. This is the same command one can use to start SageMath in Linux also. So in Linux and Windows, the same command from SageMath cell, it works. Okay. Now let us create a new notebook. Okay. So when you open this, start this SageMath, it will actually, I don't know whether you are able to see. Let me, because something keeps interrupting my. Yeah, so there is, this is what is called SageMath Homes, right? Here you can see here, this is a Sage server which is running, and this is the default home directory. Now I can create a new, okay? So you can see here Sage 9.1. We can also use Python, or if you have installed something else, you can use from the same platform also. So let us create Sage 9.1. Sage 9.1. Okay, so this is a Jupyter notebook. On the top, you will see its name. At present, it says Untitled 1. So if you click on this, you can give its name. So let us say, I will simply say introduction. You can give whatever name you want. Introduction to Sage, let us say at Pune 2020. Okay, that's the name. Okay, by default, you can see here, by default, it will have extension which is called .ipynb, stands for Interactive Python Notebook. This stands for Interactive Python Notebook. Okay. Right. So this is input cell, and these cells can be converted into what is called markdown. It can be converted into heading or drawing notebook converter, right? So commands, any Sage command, it has to be in command mode. But if you want to give any comment, then you have to say markdown. So let me choose markdown and give some heading to this. So I can give heading. So that heading will start with hash syntax followed by space, and then let us say give introduction to, let us say SageMath, and I can give subheading by giving two hash, right? I can say, let us say University of Pune, right? I can have three, that is heading, subheading, subheading, or in terms of you can think of in terms of section, subsection, subsection. Let us say I will say Ajit Kumar. Now if I execute this, you can execute this by clicking on run, or you can use shift followed by enter. Shift followed by enter. Okay, shift enter to execute, or click on this run. These are the two ways to execute or compile or run, right? So if you want to again change, go back and change something, you just bring your cursor and then double click, you can change. Let us say if I want to put today's date, I can say, let us say October 16, 2020. Right? So you can see here now the font size, it is decreasing. Of course, you cannot go to infinitely many layers. There will be limitations. But any text you can type. Not only that, you can type any LaTeX command. Okay, we will see this little later, but you can type any LaTeX command. Okay, right. So let us do some computation. Let us do some computation. So for example, let us say, let us again give two numbers, A and B. And let us say this A is this, and B is this number, right? And let us find out X, G, C, D of A comma B. Right? X, G, C, D of these two integers. So I think when you have two integers A and B, and if D is GCD, then we know that there is a Bezo's identity which says that there exist integers X and Y such that X times A plus Y times B is equal to GCD. So it is giving you output in tuple, right? So it has three outputs. So the first one stands for the D, that is GCD. Second one is the integer X, and third one is let us integer Y, such that X times A plus Y times B is equal to GCD D. So let me just verify that. I will store this first one in D, second one in X, third one in Y, and then I will say equal to, and then let us verify, is D equal to X times A plus Y times B? And the answer is true. So let me copy paste this whole thing inside chat message. Okay, so this you can execute in Sage Math once. Let me just give you a few seconds to execute this. Have you executed? Can we go ahead? Can we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So and please don't hesitate in interrupting me or asking. Okay. But please, I request all of you to please do these things simultaneously so that at least you will be confident enough to start Sage and do some computation for your teaching, for your research. How to write
Sir,
LaTeX codes.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, is it possible to produce a project output like LaTeX in this Sage?
Yeah, it is possible.
Is it possible to assign font size for your output? What you
Font
typed there?
size that
Or center alignment and all those?
that it may be possible because one can go to what is called the source file where the fonts etc. is controlled. So there one can change, right? But
Thank you.
the LaTeX output etc. See, what you can do is you can generate LaTeX codes, and then once you go to aware of how to do things in LaTeX, there you can manage. That will be much easier than going to the source code of Sage, basic what do you say, the all the preambles and changing those preambles. Okay, right.
Thank you, sir.
So, we will look at how to generate LaTeX code and how to make this. That we will look at. Okay, fine. Is it clear? So this is number 3 concepts. You can explore other number 3 concepts also. Right. So now let us look at, suppose we want to define a function. Okay, before that, let me do one more thing. So for example, let us say we have created B. What is B here? B is at present 6735 734, right? And if I say B dot and then press tab, B dot and press tab, can all of you see there is a drop down menu which has appeared? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can see here
Yes,
the various things that I can apply, including with how many digits are there, then finding exponential, finding factor, finding factorial, floor function, gamma, GCD, all these things are appearing. So I do not need to remember all these commands. There are so many thousands of syntax commands, nobody can remember. But we don't have to actually. Once we create an object, we can just list them using drop down menu. Or I can type few commands, few initial characters, and it will tell me what are the possible commands that starts with those few characters. Okay, so you can, for example, you can see next prime. So b dot next prime, and it will tell me what is the next prime. Okay, so that is very important command, dot tab. Okay, so we will make use of this. Let us create some function. So easiest way to create a function in Sage, to just give the function name, that is here f, then give the parameter inside round bracket. Here it is a function of x. So x is a parameter. Now let us define something. Let us say it is x to the power 5 minus sine of 2 star x plus exponential of minus x square by something. Okay, this is good enough. Or let us say x into exponential of this. Let me copy paste this for you. Okay, that's the function. That is a function. Now, once you are given this function, then what are the things that you would like to do about this function? Okay, so you can simply use you can use f dot and then press tab. Again, all these things which you can do on this will appear, right? Simplification in terms of trigonometric simplification, you can find power, you can find roots, you can find numerical approximation, you can find various other things, local maximum, local minimum, you can plot graph, you can find derivative, you can find integral, all these things are here, right? So let us explore some of these things. So for example, we may want to plot graph of this function. So all we have to do is f dot plot, and let us give empty round bracket, and then when you execute, it will plot. Okay, you can see here the graph has appeared, but it has plotted between -1 and 1 because I did not specify any domain in which we want to plot. So next time let me specify the domain. So let me say f dot plot, here itself I will do the next line. I will say plot between -3 and 3, and then tell me also let me say the color I want in red color. Maybe I will reduce the figure size. Fig size is equal to, let us say, 4. Okay, so let me again copy paste this for you in the chat box. Yeah, so now when I execute, it will tell me it is, you can see here, this is how the graph looks like. Okay, at present x-axis, y-axis, you can restrict y max is equal to, let us say I want to restrict only up to 20, and y min also I want only up to 20, -20, right? Now, or instead of 20, let us restrict to 10. Right, now it looks much better. It looks like it has 2 zeros, has 3 zeros. One is just after -1, other one is near 0, other one is near close to 1, and it has 2 local maximum. One is it has 1 local minimum, 1 local maximum. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can we save this picture?
Yes, you can save this picture. Simplest way to save this picture is right click and then save as. So if I click on save as, it will save me in PNG format.
Okay.
There are other formats also. I think PNG is default one. But you can also use in other format. There is a function called .save.
Okay.
So using that one can save it in PDF format. You can save it in other format.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. So let us look at, suppose we want to find derivative of this function. I can simply say f dot diff, that will give me derivative. So you can see here, it has given the derivative in no time. If I want to find, let us say, fifth derivative, I can write 5 in the bracket. This will give me fifth derivative. Let me copy paste that in chat box. This is fifth derivative. Inside the bracket, if I write 5, this will give me fifth derivative. So you can find any derivative. Of course, you can't find very, very large derivative. It may not.
And the left side x, what it means, with respect to differential with respect to x.
This simply means that it is a function of x.
Okay.
It's a function of x. So for example, if I say instead of this, I will say t here, then the output, what does it say? Name t is not defined. Okay. So, so by default says things of x as a variable. But anything else, if you want to use as a variable, you have to define so that it does not get it doesn't get confused. So let me see how do we do. So we'll say var, and inside single quote or double quote we say t. Now t will become a variable, and then now you see that everything is a function of t. Everything is a function of. That is how we define function of x, right? Mathematically, we also write generally x going to something, right? So that is, or if you want, we can evaluate f dot diff. Let us say fifth derivative, and we want to evaluate x equal to -1. That is the value of the fifth derivative at -1. Okay, right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, of course.
Can we solve system of equations or inequalities?
Yes, we will come to that. We will look at some examples. We'll come to that. Almost, I mean, all the concepts generally we deal with at undergraduate level, majority in postgraduate level, can be explored using Sage. Okay, right. So let us look at. So what are the other things that we can do with this function f? Can you please tell me what are the things that you would like to know about f? Yeah, please go ahead. One by one, you can just tell. We did derivative, we did plotting. These are the two things we did. Anything else that you would like to do?
Maxima, minima.
Maxima, minima. Okay. So maxima, minima. Yes.
Roots, zeros.
Find zeros of this, numerical zeros. Okay. What else?
Integration.
Find integral of this. Okay. So we have 3 things to do. Next.
Solving differential equations.
For this function. What do you mean by solving differential equation for this? I'm asking about this function. What do you want to do with this function?
Formation of differential equation.
Yes.
Formation of differential equation.
Formation of differential equation. So you want to differentiate and then see whether it satisfies certain equations. That of course, yeah, that's correct.
Sir, can we find Laplace transform of this function?
Can we find Laplace transform of this equation? Okay. Whether we can or not, that's a different question, but we would like to do. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? See, calculus is all about dealing with functions, isn't it? So what are the other concepts we learn in calculus? For example, you can find maybe Taylor series expansion of various degree, right? Maybe you would like to check whether, I mean, verify mean value theorem.
Yes, Lagrange theorem.
Yeah, so various things you can do. Let us just explore some of these things, and all these things are quite easy. So as I said, f dot tab gives me everything. So what are the things that came? the integration. So let us say, is there something to do with integration? So I just typed IN and it gives me option integral, integrate, inverse Laplace transform. So naturally Laplace transform, right? Inverse mode, inverse of unit. These two things doesn't at present is not anything related to the calculus. But let us say we want to find integral. Integral of this, let us say with respect to x. With respect to x. So it has given you integral, right? It has given me. If I want, so let me copy paste this again. If I want to find, let us say integral, definite integral, let us say between 0 and 1, let us say integral of this with respect to x between 0 and let us say 2, then it will give me the definite integral. Of course, you can see here it is giving only in terms of cos 4 e to the power 4 and so on. So it is not giving you numerical value, but now you know how to find its numerical value, right? You'll say dot n and then this will give me numerical value. Okay, so this is how we find numerical value of the integral. Definite and indefinite both you can do. What was the second thing somebody said? Finding local maximum, local minimum, right? So just look at the graph. So finding local maximum, local minimum, we can find derivative equated to 0 and then solve for that. We can do that. But there is also an inbuilt function to find local maximum, local minimum using numerically. So let us say it has a local minimum between 0 and 1. So let us find that. So f dot, first let us find the zeros of this. So f dot find underscore root between, let us say 0, we want to find a root. There is one root between -1 and let us say -1 and let us say -0.5. Right? So it has given me, there is a 0 of this at -0.895019. Of course, you can ask which method it has used. So that one has to look at the function and then you can look at the program that finds this root. This is open source package. So not only we can use this freely, but we can also find out the source code of this. How do I do that? So for that, you can say f dot find underscore root and let me put double question mark. This is to take help. Okay, so if I put double question mark, you can see here, it will give you how the function is defined, what are the options available. It will give you some documentation along with some example. And at the end, you will also see what is the source code it is using. So in case you have some knowledge of Python, you will be able to make, of course, this may use some other function sitting in some other library. Okay, but this will tell you how the source code, it will give you the source code. So entire source code is available. Okay, so that is the actually meaning of open source package. Let me close this help document. Okay, is this clear to everybody? So you can use single question mark and double question mark. Double question mark will also give you the detail. And if you have noticed, it also gave me what is the file in which this code is written. So you can open that file from your parent directory, and then not only you can open and see the source code, but you can also modify those source code according to your need. Okay, fine. So is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Can we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me go ahead. Now let us look at, so we found a root 0 of this function. Let us find local maximum, local minimum. F dot find local maximum, and we saw that there is a local maximum between 0 and 1. So let us find 0 and 1. It gives me, it has a local maximum. It gives you two values. Okay, one will be the point at which the local maximum occur, and other, see local maximum between -1 and 1, right? Of course, it also finds, but this is not what we wanted. So it says that it has a local maximum that occurs at -0.5798, and the value of the maximum is 0.4368. Okay, in case there is this will always give you local maximum, local minimum, because it finds numerically. So in that interval, whatever is the maximum value of the function, it will be. Okay, right. Similarly, you can find local minimum. So let me copy this in chat message. Okay, can you find out local minimum? As a small exercise, please find local minimum, and then so let me keep the graph in front of you. Find the local minimum. So is there anybody who has managed to install? Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I don't get any response. So
I have installed it.
Okay.
I opened my Jupyter notebook also.
Okay, you have managed to open the Jupyter notebook. That's good. Okay.
But somehow when I type in the function, I typed in f of x equal to x squared, and then I did this f dot plot,
right,
round bracket. Then it gave me some error, some trace back.
What is the error it says?
Some trace back, most recent call last, and f is not defined. Name error, f is not defined.
So that means that you have defined f of x is equal to x square, but you have not executed.
So how do I enter it, or how do I?
Execution is either you click on run, you just go to that particular cell where you have defined. For example, I have defined here, right? Okay. So then you can click on run or press shift and enter.
But then it tells me that the kernel appears to have died. It will restart automatically. Some message.
Is it? Which version you have downloaded?
9.3.
9.3. See, sometimes that problem occurs because I think it wants something in the there is some kind of bug. Some program is needed. So in that case, I suggest please download 9.1 and then work.
Okay. Fine. I'll do that.
Yeah, please do that, and then you can tell me that there is some bug in this window version. Okay, but I think there is a way to make it work. Right. So that is the difficulty, right? If you have to once you define, then you have to execute first in order to do some other computation. That is why that name space error. Okay, right. So let us do one more thing. Let us find Taylor C expansion of that f dot Taylor. Right, you can see here with respect to x, let us say, and let us say x equal to by, let us say 0, about 0, and of degree, let us say 5. This should work, yes. So this is a Taylor series expansion of degree 5. If I say degree 7, this is 7th degree Taylor's polynomial about x equal to 0. If I want x equal to -1, then this will be somewhat more complicated, but it can find. Okay, so let us do it. Okay. This is degree 7. Let me copy paste in the chat message. Yeah. This. Now, how about, let us say, let me define this as, let us say T3 is equal to f dot Taylor of with respect to variable x about 0 and of degree 3. Okay, and let us plot graph of f, which we have plotted, graph of f of x between -3 and 3, and let us say we want color in red and maybe fig size is 4. Second fig size is equal to 4. Okay, then so this may, let me put it in P, and then I will say plot P2, the same thing, but this time I will say T3, that is Taylor's expansion. Instead of this, so let me put it in blue color, and then let us plot both together. P1 plus P2 will plot both together. Let me run. And you can see here again. I think this y value, it is taking quite large. So let me say y max is equal to say 10, and y min is equal to -10. Now let us, yeah, this looks better. Let me copy paste these things. Okay, so it has plotted graph of the function red in color and along with the 3rd degree Taylor's polynomial, and you can see here near 0 this approximation seems to be quite nice, but as we go away from 0 there is a lot of difference between the function and the Taylor's expansion. That's what we do. And in case we try to increase the degree, for example, instead of degree 3 I make it degree, let us say 7. And then if I plot, now you can see here the approximation is much better, almost very close to each other. Between -1 and 1, there's hardly any difference here. Okay, so that's how we can interpret Taylor's expansion, which is an approximation of the function. Okay, so this is how you can plot graph of many functions together, and you can save this. Right. So let me also, is this clear to everybody? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. So let us see. Suppose we wanted to create a LaTeX command. So we created a function f, right? So if I say LaTeX f of x, this gives you the LaTeX command. Okay. Similarly, let me say LaTeX of f dot diff with respect to x, and then let us say this of x. The second one, the second one appears from here, that is the derivative of the function. So you can generate LaTeX code of whatever objects that you have created. Now let me do one at a time. Okay, so I will do it. This is in first one, this is in second one. So these are the LaTeX code. Let us say we want to type the LaTeX in this notebook itself. So I can have a statement of a theorem, and then I can have proof in the same notebook, but the proof may use some graphs, it may use some computation that I can have inbuilt, right? So let us see. So I will convert this particular cell which is at present in in code mode to markdown mode. Now I will say, let us consider the function f of x is equal to, so I will just copy paste this LaTeX code, close the dollar, and then execute. Now you can see here, let us consider the function f(x) equal to x power 5 plus x into e to the power minus x square minus sine 2x. That was. And similarly, I can also say the derivative of f is, let us say, I will say in double dollar f dash x is equal to, now let me copy the second part, paste it here, double dollar closed, we stop here. So you can see here now the derivative is this, right? So that's a very, very good thing if I'm using this. And in case you are aware of a little bit of LaTeX typing, document setting in LaTeX, which I'm sure most of you must be, it is very convenient. Many times we have you have created some function which is very complicated, you have done some computations, etc. So after that, again, you don't want to retype all those things. This will help you. Okay, right. So,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
I have installed it. How to run now?
How to run this?
How to run the console?
Yeah. So you can. I think at present you just go to Sage notebook on your desktop. It must have created 3 icons, right?
Right, sir.
Yeah. So you click on Sage Math, whatever 9.3.
9.3 notebook. Okay.
Yeah. Double click on that.
Okay. Sage Math notebook. Double click.
Yeah. So it will start the kernel.
Right.
It may take a few seconds because it has to set up the paths and other things, etc.
It is setting up.
Now, do you see this kind of browser?
No, not right now, sir. It's working.
Okay, still doing.
Yes. Now it is asking me which browser to choose. So I have to.
So you can choose default browser, whatever is
default browser. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. I can see now.
You can see here. So now you can,
yes, sir.
you can go to new, click on new, and then click on Sage 9.3.
Okay.
Let's hope you don't get that error which Ganesh got, because yeah, in that case you may have to install 9.1 version.
Where can I find that? Okay, see it is here, and then SageMath 9.3. Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir. It's loading.
Yeah. Okay. So let us go ahead.
I have got it, sir.
Okay, fine. So you can start typing these things, right?
Sir. Right, sir.
Yeah. And let us say now, suppose we want to. So all the calculus that you want to do can be done. This is one variable calculus. But if you wanted to create function of 2 variables, let us say, so first thing we will declare x and y as variables. X and y as variables like this. There are other ways of doing it also. Let us create function g of xy is equal to, let us say, x plus y, let us say sine of x square minus y square. Okay, this is the function. Now this is a function of 2 variables. So you can evaluate this function at, let us say, x equal to 1, y equal to minus 2. Right? I can find the decimal value of this. Right? then you can also plot graph of this function. So how do I plot? Instead of now plot, you have to say plot 3D because it is 3D plot, and g of xy, and then let us say x we want to plot between -2 and 2, and y we want to plot between -2 and 2. Okay, so let me run this, and then I will copy. What does it say? No, there is comma missing here. So you can see here, within few seconds, the graph has come. And this graph you can rotate, all these things you can do. It looks quite attractive. Let me copy paste this in chat message. This one, and it's plot. Again, you can change the color. There are various styles. So you can do plotting graph of explicitly defined function of one variable and two variables that we did. You can do polar plot, you can do implicit plot, you can plot contours, you can do parametric plots, and some of the standard known surfaces you can plot. All these things are available. You can plot graphs of graph theory. A lot of graph theory can be done. I think Professor Krishnan will be doing some graph theory, and I think I saw in some other people are also doing. Sage also has very nice graph theoretic package. Right. So is it clear how to plot 3D functions? Okay, you can try it, and again you can apply all the concepts, calculus concepts that you can do on function of two variables. Like you can again find derivative, in this case partial derivatives, find the Hessian, find Jacobian, find again local maximum, local minimum, find Taylor series expansion, and the same command of Taylor series will do here also. The same command, except you have to give now variables x and y. Okay, we will not do. In case you are interested, I can do, but we will look at somewhat more concepts in linear algebra rather than calculus. Okay, so is it clear to everybody? Can we go ahead? So yeah. So as a small homework, you can try to find out various partial derivatives of this function g, and also try to find what is Hessian of this, the Jacobian of this. Okay, all these gradient of this, all these are inbuilt functions. So for example, if I say g dot gradient, it will find gradient of the function. This is a vector, and you can evaluate at various. Let us say you can evaluate at x equal to -1, y is equal to 0.5. This is the gradient. Okay. Right. Next, we are also approaching towards the end of the session. So let us define matrix. Okay. So how do I define a matrix? The simplest way of defining matrix is a matrix. Then you can give the domain from which you are taking the entries. For example, it could be QQ for rational, ZZ for integer, RR for real. It could be extended rational field, QQ bar, and including finite fields. So for example, if I say GF bracket 5, this will give me finite field FP5. Okay, so you can create, so let us create a rational field. The first row is, you have to give list of rows. So first row is, let us say 1, -2, 3. The second row is, let us say 2, 0, 3. And third row is, let us say 6, 2, 5. This is a matrix. Let me copy paste in chat message. Okay, right. Now, what do we want? Of course, again, you can generate a LaTeX code for this. This is how it looks like. Let a code of this. Okay. So again, what are the things that you would like to do about this matrix? All these things will be available using .tab command. A .tab, if you go through this list, see it is adjoined, sorry, .tab, you can find its adjoined, you can find the characteristic polynomial, Cholesky factorization, you can extract the columns of A, you can find a column space, you can find row space, you can find, you can delete a row, you can add a row, you can find determinant, you can find that check whether it is diagonalizable or not. All the standard, you can analyze this, you can find in echelon form, you can find eigenvalues, eigenvectors, all the standard concepts that we can do with the matrix are available, including the exponential of a matrix if it exists. Okay, right? So let us try to explore some of these things. Right? In Jordan canonical form also you can find out. You can, right? Kernel you can find, image you can find, all these things are available. Okay, with what happened? Okay, so let us look at. Suppose we want to find A dot, let us say determinant of A. That's the determinant of this function, this matrix. If I want to find inverse A dot inverse, that's the inverse of the function. And if I want to check whether this is correct or not, I can say A dot inverse multiplied by A, which should give me identity matrix. That's correct. So that's the checking whether the inverse is correct. You can find A dot, let us say, row space. The row space of A. This is three-dimensional subspace over rational field. Okay. Similarly, I can find column space. I can find A dot RREF, row reduced echelon form. That this matrix is equivalent to row equivalent to identity matrix. That also we can find. I mean, you can find eigenvalues. Eigenvalues. It finds numerical eigenvalues. That's why you can see here it has 3 eigenvalues, but it has found numerically. That's why you see here there is a question mark at the end. So it is approximation. You can find the characteristic polynomial. So how do I do? A dot characteristic polynomial. That's the characteristic polynomial. And somebody was asking me, can I solve? So I can say solve A dot characteristic polynomial, or let me put this in Px. We'll call E of x, that is characteristic polynomial of A, and then I can say solve P of x equal to 0 for x. These are the roots. It has found out these are the roots. Okay, so you can use this solve command to solve system of linear equations. To solve one equation in one variable, you can solve several equations in one variable, in several variables, like system of nonlinear equations. You can also solve inequality and also differential equation, but the differential equation solve will be somewhat different. Okay, so for example, I can create a vector B, which is, let us say 1, -2, 3, and we can solve A dot solve underscore right in the bracket B. So this is solving Ax equal to B. Or you could have just say A backslash B. These are the two same thing. In case you have used MATLAB, this is MATLAB command. Okay, so all these things can be done very, very easily. Okay, is this fine? So once you have,
Yes.
yeah, let me copy. Yeah. Yeah. So we will look at, in the next class, we will look at maybe how to define a vector space, how to define linear transformation, and we will also look at some applications of linear algebra. But my request is, please install in your system and please check in case 9.3 is giving problem, please install 9.1. That should work. There should not be any problem. So whatever we have done today, okay, now let me see whatever we have done today. I can go to file and I can download as in various format. You can see here there are various formats in which we can download, including LaTeX format, including PDF format. But PDF via LaTeX, so it will require you to have LaTeX installed in your system, then it will do. Otherwise, you can do it in by default is .ipynb format, but you can do it in HTML format also. So let me see. I want to save this in PDF format. It is still doing. Yeah, so it has done, it has downloaded. Let me open this file. Introduction to SageMath. You can see. Okay, so let me put this in chat message, so all these things will be available. Chat. This your computer. Download. So here it is. Download. Okay, so you can download this file. So whatever we did today, that is saved. I could save also in LaTeX format, but in PDF format, including the picture. The fine. So it is very, very convenient, and it's also can be thought of as a tool which will bring a lot of interactivity in the class in case you're using. Okay, fine. So I think it's already, I've exceeded the time. So should we stop, or I can go on? There is no problem with me. Whatever is your opinion. Should we stop?
Can we construct matrix with its blocks recursively? Suppose matrix is constructed recursively with their blocks, with its blocks.
Yes, can be done. There is a notion of block matrix. You can do that. You can do. Recursively means recursively also you can do. You may have to write user-defined function for that. There may not be inbuilt function to do recursive creation of matrix, but you may have to create your own function.
Okay, thank you, sir.
A little bit of Python programming will be required for that. Okay.
Yes.
Any other question?
Professor Ajit Kumar, can you share the PDF file on my WhatsApp so that I can share with the students?
I already shared in chat message, so I think everybody should be able to download.
Yes, we are able to download it actually.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
it's there in the chat box.
Yeah, it is there in the chat box. Do you want me to send it in your WhatsApp?
Okay, no, then we will download it.
Yeah. So please can download it.
Okay, fine.
Right. Any other question? So in remaining 2 lectures, we will concentrate on
open source software like Skylab or this MATLAB.
Can you please come again?
It is better
See,
Sir, is this
Scilab, Scilab is more of numerical, suited for numerical computations. Whereas in Sage Math, you can do symbolic computations much better, in a much better way. So that way it is, and also learning, I mean, it is easier to use Sage Math than Scilab. Right? I find it much easier and better. The graphs, etc., are very nice here also. Here. But the symbolic manipulation in Sage Math is its capability that distinguishes from the Scilab. Okay, any other question?
Very helpful session today.
Thank you very much. So we will look at many more. So my appeal to all of you, please get it installed before you come to the next session, so that when we do real application, it will be much more enjoyable. Which because just by watching me doing, if you do it, even if it means copying the codes and running, it will be much more enjoyable. Yeah, so that's my appeal.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So in case there are no questions, we can.
Sir, I want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Which is better, Python or Sage? Means someone using Python, basic Python software actually, and many people are using Sage. So which is better for at least researcher for?
See, Python is pure programming language, right?
Yes. Sir.
Whereas the Sage Math, so in case you know a little bit of Python, using Sage Math will become much better, right? Because you can write your own programs.
Yes.
That is one. Sage Math, on the other hand, has advantage of already dealing with various concepts like lot of things you can do in linear algebra, calculus, optimization, graph theory, combinatorics, differential equations, etc. Right?
Yes.
If you want to use Python for all these things, one has to use some third-party package if it is available, or you have to create.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
that for math, those who want to use it for doing mathematical computation, I think Sage is better. And on the way, you can also learn Python, little bit of Python, so that you can use Sage Math more effectively. Not just as a black box, but you can use in a much better way.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can we use Sage Math to solve differential equation? Yes, we can. So there is a function called DESolve. DESolve. So you can try to explore DESolve. It will solve, including the numerical solutions. Yeah, and of course, I think you can go to my website, and on that there are. Let me see where it is. On that there are some lectures which I had given last summer when the lockdown started. So there are 12 lectures on Sage Math that also can be used in order to learn Sage. I'll use other browsers. That will be already there. And from here, go to Sage Math. Yeah. So you can see here there are some 12 lectures. One on introduction, then graphing, programming, calculus with Sage, 2 lectures, linear algebra, some 4 lectures, one in our differential equation, couple in group theory. So this is almost like a 1 semester lab course on Sage Math in case you want to introduce. It has quite a good set of materials. And you can also go to, there's another thing, let me see.
Hello, sir. You are not audible.
I think I was disconnected for a few seconds. Yeah, so you can. I was giving you this my website in which you can find out these math lectures. So there are some 12 lectures available. There is also, you can go to my the last year I had given course of lectures on NPTEL, computational mathematics with Sage Math. That was 8 weeks course. So that also can be accessed. So let me copy paste also that link in chat message. This one, and this course will again run from this coming January. It will become now, I think, 12 weeks course rather than 8 weeks. With of course some extra material will be added. So these are very good way to get started with Sage. Okay. Anything else? Please share these links with other people also. Yeah. Dr. Manish?
Yes, yes, sir. On behalf of Department of Mathematics and EHRDC Savitribai Phule Pune University, I would like to thank you, sir, for this informative lecture. You started with very simple operations like multiplication and power, and then you show how to use some things in number theory, then calculus, plotting of graphs, finding derivatives, integrals, and moreover 3D graphs, which will be very useful for all of us, and then some algebra, linear algebra, matrix, determinant, its inverses, all these things. And we will definitely, sir, go through your lectures on YouTube and NPTEL. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks. We'll see tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, yes, sir, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Joshi, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Ajit Kumar.
Yeah.
And thanks all the participants. So for today's session is over. Tomorrow we will meet at again 10 a.m. First lecture will be by Professor S.R. Mugam. Okay, if there are any comments, suggestions, please let me know. Otherwise, we can stop here.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Good night to all.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, only one suggestion, particularly just have a nice light arrangement so that faces are visible, because when you are asking question, the speaker is not able to understand who is asking the question.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please look at that, particularly the Pradeep sir and yeah. So it's totally dark, so we are unable